Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good you. Good. What day? What time is it? Good afternoon. We got
Thursday.
a special Aces, top notch, legendary gent here today. Anthony Esemplare.
What's up?
Welcome, unidentified S4. Welcome to the jungle.
What's
It's
up,
good
bro?
to have you.
Pleasure.
So, we're gonna actually have some breaking news here, which is freaking amazing. Um,
Yeah, man.
yeah, you thank you for sharing this with us.
Yeah, so
We
so
can
for the
dive right
first
into it, I guess.
so for the first time, I was out just working in my backyard in the patio, right? And I just happened to have all my laptop and all my gear going, and I spotted out an object that at first was so bright I thought it was a plane oncoming off the water, and as it kept approaching, I noticed there was no strobe lights to it. So I decided to start filming, and as it got closer and closer, of course, it got brighter and brighter and larger. And it turned out that it was an unidentified flying object, and I'll show you that after you see the video, because we checked everything. We checked the International Space Station location. We checked unmanned aerial vehicles, both military and civilian. We checked Starlink applications and SpaceX stuff. None of the above. So this is an undocumented, uncharted craft that was in our atmosphere low. Low. It wasn't. It was not in space. This object. It was lower.
Oh,
Um,
that always amazes me that you like. So that's I always think that's cool that you do justice. You know what I mean? There's a lot of I know a lot of people that um they won't do that work. They won't like they don't want to debunk themselves. They'll just put it up there that it was something. It was UFO. I find that impressive that you'll always do that. You'll always check the satellites and like the Starlinks and stuff like that. And that's something I've always heard you say that, and I'm like, wow, that's good shit. Like that's good
who
work.
wants to see a satellite? You know what I mean? I don't want to see a satellite. I'm not interested in that.
I'm
I want
just
to
saying.
I want to see stuff that's undocumented. So anyway, I filmed the object and then I threw it up on Facebook just to get some reactions.
Yeah,
And I noticed it was going towards Jersey, so I reached out to my friend Robert Earl White. He
right.
has a channel, Order a Light, and Robert ran out and he started filming this guy. And I let him know what direction it was coming, and he fucking nailed it. He filmed the same exact object. So because of coordinated efforts, we were able to catch it from Staten Island going through the state of New Jersey. And that's what we got to start doing. People need to start coordinating their efforts when we're tracking these things, so we could figure out, if they change direction, where they were headed, and try to get as much information as possible with these targets, right? Because we don't know what their intentions are. They could just be flying through, but God only knows what their intentions are. They got to be coming here for some reason, and I'm not saying it's nefarious, but I'm
Yeah,
sure it
yeah.
would put a lot of
Well,
minds at ease if we knew exactly
yeah.
when they were coming.
Well, I was saying this the other night too. I'm like, I wonder if it's like if they even care about us. Maybe the universe is so big and like literally like kind of like every, we're the only ones that are stuck like on our planet. You know what I mean? Or at least like we are stuck. Well, let's just say we are stuck on our planet. But all these other like intergalactic like ships or crafts, maybe we're like a slingshot spot, you know what I mean, or something where they have
Or
to like come through us, or like we're just
I
an exit
call
where they put their RV, you know what I mean?
I
Like,
call I call Earth the intergalactic zoo because I see these UFOs fly in and they got their kids in there, like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? And they're like, look at these primitive humans. They could barely get into the sky, never mind space. That's what's going on in my head. You got like three little aliens in a spaceship with their mom and dad, like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? They're like, look at the human monkeys down there and shut up while we're trying to figure out where we're going. But we have no idea what's going on. We're trying to figure it out. Anyway, I got a video down there for you. Take a look. It
okay,
starts off on Staten Island by me, and then it goes into Jersey. And
okay,
you'll see what I'm talking about.
yeah. If one of the mods could drop Anthony and unidentified S Force channel, please, thank you. Um,
So these
wait,
things, they 9 out of 10 times they appear as a big orb of light like
oh
this.
shit, I did it. Nice.
Got a really bright
Yeah,
object here.
Now this object's huge, mind you. This thing's got a couple 100 feet across. It's just very high in the sky. It's big and bright.
Yeah. After I've done this with you, I know you get an idea.
Whatever it is right above me. What the hell is this thing? I have no idea what this is. It's directly overhead. I see no strobe lights. I'm zoomed in all the way.
That's huge.
So
Whatever it is, it's directly above.
So that clicking you're hearing is just psionic. It moves in and out.
I'm changing the light aperture so I could get the exact colors on it, as you see now.
What
So
the fuck is that?
the shape of this craft kind of looked like a bell. That was the shape of it.
Psionics has like this these buttons around here, and when you click them, it makes it.
I haven't the foggiest idea what I'm filming right now. It's super duper bright.
No sound. And it's traveling.
All right, Robert Earl White.
So now
Oh my
Robert
gosh, this one is massive.
picks it up in New
It
Jersey.
just changed directions. What? It just changed directions. This is a huge one. Oh, sun's just setting here in southern New Jersey. Wow. Oh my goodness. Holy smokes. Wow. Wow.
Now it's amazing to us because we actually see how massive
Wow.
the object is. You know, the camera.
Look at
like,
this.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's
They're
crazy.
here. Oh wow. My friend Anthony just recorded the same thing in Long Island. He posted it on
Staten Island, you bastard.
Facebook, so I said, let me start recording, and sure enough, I'm pretty sure it's the same one Anthony Esemplare just recorded. Wow.
That's the name, right?
That thing
No,
is
it's great.
low.
You did good.
Look at
It's
this.
very slow.
Look at that object, man.
Wow. Robert Earl White, Order of Light.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, a plane. Over there.
Looks
I
like
love when planes. I love when planes go
Wow.
by. It gives such a.
Well, we'll get into that in a few minutes. I got something else to show you.
Was this on the move? This one?
What?
Yeah, thanks, Anthony, for giving me the idea. Check out Unidentified S4. Great guys. I'm moving. Trying to get a better angle. That thing is bright and it's slow. It completely changed direction.
So he keeps saying that it's changing direction. It did the same thing by me.
Mm.
Now, in our heads, you're trying to rationalize this. It's got, you know, is it a satellite? Is this or that? Satellites, they only fly in one direction.
Yeah.
They'll stay on the
And they
same
have-
band. So
Yeah, and they have a
There's
certain
a faint
course.
one.
Yeah, like
when
a
something
speed that
changes
they.
direction like that, we know that it's not a satellite off the bat.
I
But we
just
still
want to keep
check.
my eyes on.
Yeah, we've
It just
seen one that
started
like
fading out.
it made like a Z.
Just faded
Oh, yeah,
out.
we've seen some crazy stuff
It just
together.
turned off.
But this ain't the craziest part. Wait till this is
Just
done.
faded out.
Show you what ends up coming over right after.
How? It's gone. Completely gone.
Oh, thank you, God.
Wow. That's the moon you
Good
see
man,
up in
bro.
the sky over there. All right. Hit that like button. Please subscribe.
Okay, so I'll pull this down for you.
All right.
Next, hit that down there. So this is when I start investigating. So what you're looking at right now is hold on a second. This is a chart for unmanned aerial vehicles, people that have drone licenses and stuff of that nature. So I did a grid for 30 square miles from around my zone. I'm the red circle in the middle. So from my zone in a 30-mile radius around, I pinged everything that I can ping. The green targets that you're seeing with the white dots, those are beacons. That's stations that they can bounce off of to send signal to let us know where these objects are. But there's none, because if there was any, there would be a black ring with a white dot. So there's no drones there right now. Aside from that, International Space Station is making its way into the other side, like into Europe out that way. So we know it's not the ISS. There's another picture of the International Space Station making its second pass, because we stay on this for a while trying to figure out what can go on. I even went so far as to go to the United States Air Force and find all the military drones
See,
that
that's the shit. This is
were up
what
in the air
impresses
at that time. So these are all the military drones that are up in the air at that time as well. And then I home in my area, and the closest thing was a SOCOM Navy SEAL. They had a test object up. Those are those two white dots up by Lake Oneida up there. The SEAL team's doing some kind of practice thing up there, and way down the bottom left, the Army RMAX at the bottom left was doing something. Probably some of those drones that they throw up in the air for communications or whatever, like comms drones or whatever. I think those are what we're looking at there. Now, directly after the object flew over my house, and I'm talking within 20 seconds after that, God, and I mean, this is very common, a goddamn black helicopter, and it's right down there, flies right over my house, right over the area in the same direction it went. And it's got the spotlight on, it's low. And you hear you, Mike, so you know I'm not kidding, because your show's on in the background.
Yeah, yeah.
You hear your show in the background? This is the
I
same
do now,
time,
yeah.
this is the same time you were live the other night.
Oh, that's crazy.
So oddly enough, a black helicopter flies over. People say that the when a bona fide unidentified flying object flies over, you get the black choppers coming in. I've had that happen on more than one occasion. Never
Yeah.
had the opportunity to film one right after the object came over like that. So now you guys seen the object in Staten Island that I filmed. You've seen it in New Jersey. Robert filmed it. So that's a coordinated effort between two ufologists in two different states. You've seen all the tracking data and radar stuff, drones and International Space Station and military drones and Starlink and you name it. None of that. So bottom line, it's a UFO. I'm not saying little green men, but it's an unidentified flying object. Very strange. Made no sound. Both Robert and I reported to each other, no sound, nothing like that. And in my location, I'm on the water. In Robert's location, he's on the water too. And if it's not odd enough, right behind Robert's home, I'm talking within like a 10-mile radius of Robert Earl White's house, is a nuclear facility. So could this object have made its way to that nuclear facility for some reason to just be in that general area? Strange. It's all strange.
No, but that's what I was talking about. That you go through all those lengths to check out what's in the area, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. Pretty wild.
So was he was using a regular camera? Robert?
He's using just a regular like Canon camera. You know what I mean? I'm using night vision. So again, same target. Coordinated effort on night vision and a regular camera. Also, I also was able to film it. Had Janine filming it on the cell phone as well. I should pull that up for you.
That's awesome. Thank you guys all for being here and the feedback. This is pretty impressive stuff. Like, is my audio good at?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. I got the code there.
So I'm just sending this to my system now. So we were able to get this on 2 separate devices by me at the same exact time. So I'll go ahead and pull that for you. So this is just an iPhone capturing it, and of course the night vision was going at the same time. Look at that thing.
Come here.
And again, just a wild shape, kind of looked like a bell. Really weird. No strobe lights, no FAA lights on this thing. Just crazy. Like what the hell are these things that are coming through? You know? There's a good shot of it right there. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
Sorry, this dog's been killing me. Is it done?
Yeah, it was just
All right.
film, you know, Janine. I was lucky I get 20, 30 seconds out of her.
Yeah, but that's still good. I mean, she's she helps you out and she's into it. That's cool.
Yeah, if she's there. If I yell like Janine, get down here, there's a UFO, she's like, I'm busy.
Hey, Mark, what's up, guys? Blue Crossroads, thank you for being here. Susie B, Scotty B, Rob, what's up, brother? VA Moon, welcome in. Thank you guys for being here. Hello, you UFO groupies. I miss you. Blue Crossroads said earlier. Oh, a slight echo, yeah. All right. And let me see if I can come out and come back.
Go ahead.
I don't know how to do that, but I'm gonna try.
So if anybody has any questions about any of this stuff, just put it in all caps in the chat, and I'll try to answer you guys and girls.
Is that better? No.
Yeah, you sounded good to me. I'm not hearing anything.
It's driving me nuts.
Well, you're not using a microphone either.
No.
You're using the computer's speakers, so you're yelling down into the speaker of your phone or whatever. That's why you're getting the echo. If you had a mic, it would kind of cancel that stuff out.
I'm on a cell phone, yeah.
Yeah, that's why your audio is the way it is. There's nothing you can do about that. We got to get you a proper computer, desktop, and a mic.
I know, I got so many priorities. I mean, I got good news today. The truck came out of the shop. The bad news is it killed me. Like, it killed me. And I had a lot of big things planned this week that are they just coming to a screeching halt now. So there's nothing I can do about it. It took everything. It took my month, everything. It's good. But it's a plus. It's just not as it sucks to get it fixed and then be like, oh, I can't go nowhere.
Yeah, no, Mike doesn't have an echo. He's using his cell phone. He doesn't have a microphone. That's why it sounds.
It fixed itself now, so I don't know. It might have been because we were sharing stuff, and I don't usually, you know what I mean? Who knows?
Possible.
OCST, welcome. OCST, I believe you have a premiere tonight, and you sound excited about it, so we're gonna get over there.
So that was the first time, Mike, that 2 ufologists in different states coordinated with each other.
Right, which is
a UFO.
Yes, that's huge. And it was a coordinated thing, which I think is, I mean, you've stood next to people and done it, you know what I mean? But
oh yeah.
But
it's one thing when you're trying to spit information to another state, like, hey, this thing's headed your direction. Here's the coordinates. Is the last coordinates I picked it up on. See if you can get
and then a lot of people are greed buckets, right? You know what I mean? And they just want to get it for themselves and keep it for themselves, So I commend you for that too.
This is why I'm always preaching that we shouldn't be fighting with each other. Those channels that start wars with other channels because who's doing more than them or who's doing better or who filmed this, he got it and I did. Instead of doing that, try to work with each other and coordinate your efforts because you never know what's going on.
Agreed. How long did that particular one stay in the sky?
It was pretty quick when it was by me. I would say it did like Staten Island is only like 18 miles long, so I'm gonna say on the angle that it went, it did like like an 8-mile trek in maybe like 60 seconds, if that.
That's cool. That's a long time, though. I
Quick.
mean, it is a long time. I love seeing stuff happen like that happen when you can track like that. Absolutely. My cousin, yeah, sorry guys. I think it should be fixed. What time do you get off work? Andy. Goomba Gambino.
Oh, Gambino, what are you doing?
Mike's mic is all jacked up. Love seeing stuff like that, especially when you can track it like that. Oh, long and from states, like different states, I think he's trying to say. Yeah, fixed. All right, cool. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, that was the most interesting thing. And what was even weirder was
Thank you, Mark.
he lost it. He lost sight of it when it went towards that nuclear facility in his neighborhood. It phased out. It either cloaked itself or totally disappeared. But the crazy thing was that it was right by that nuclear facility.
Yeah. Janelle, I filmed the moon last night. I came out of the woods after I did a stream with you guys. And I didn't know I didn't know if I was looking at the moon or the sun. Like it took me a minute to realize, well, it ain't the sun because the sun will be coming down, right? At this point it's getting dark and it would be like much lower. And I thought I was looking at the sun for a while because it was so orange, you know. It just caught me off guard. This dog is driving me nuts. I don't know what he's barking at out there now. Look big. Hopefully other folks saw it too and post. I totally agree with what you said about working together. Yeah, for sure. Ghost Dragons. Thank you for being here, by the way, brother.
If you want, I put it down there when you're ready. If you want to play it again, I don't know if new people come in or whatever, and you want to.
Yeah, fuck it. I mean, what time is it? Sorry, I'm cursing in the middle of the day here.
12:21.
Yeah, it's too early for cursing. Let me come here. Sorry, guys.
Hit the little box to the left here.
A really bright
You get a
object
white
here.
screen.
Where?
On the image down below, there should be a box in a box, a little white box. No?
No. I don't think so. Oh, full screen. I see it now.
There you go. You're all right, Spider.
Whatever it is, right above me. What the hell is this thing? I have no idea what this is. It's directly overhead. I see no strobe lights. I'm zoomed in all the way. Whatever it is, it's directly above.
Amazing. That thing is huge.
Very rare you get to film something this long between two states like that. I mean, I've never, ever, and I'm not saying it because it's our footage.
No,
I've never heard
What the fuck
somebody
is that?
between two states.
it's perfect timing that it went that way. And
It was just meant to be.
yeah.
Super duper bright.
I haven't the foggiest idea what I'm filming right now. It's super duper bright.
So it's moving. That's a
All
star.
right, Robert Earl White.
Yeah, it was passing.
Oh my
the star.
gosh, this one is massive.
And
It just
you
changed
could,
directions.
you could see it's in this
What? It just changed directions.
There's the star, the star again.
This is a huge one.
It's the same height in the
Oh,
sky. 'cause
sun's just
it's-
setting
it's stars.
here in southern New Jersey.
Amazing.
Wow.
It was like,
Oh my goodness. Holy smokes.
When Robert zooms in on it, I mean, he gets
Wow.
a really good close up.
Wow.
yeah, well, the different cameras, you know what I mean? We take us,
Wow.
the Science takes out
Look
that
at
light.
this.
So that,
They're here.
Look at that shape of this object.
no, that's so amazing.
That's insane. I don't even know how he got in like that. I mean,
One
really,
Anthony
really
Esemplare just recorded. Wow. That thing is low. It's very slow. That thing is low. It's very slow.
So
Wow.
weird, this thing.
Robert Earl White, Order of Light. Oh, a plane. Over there.
Well, Robert gave himself a shout out. So you heard.
Wow.
And whatever it is, you could tell that it's not in space because it's low. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony, for giving me the idea. Check out Unidentified S4. Great guys. I'm moving. Trying to get a better angle.
See, now, right where it is right now,
Dang,
that's
it's bright
right
and
over the
slow. It
nuclear
completely
plant.
changed direction.
That's crazy. Right out there is wetland, and in that wetland is the lower Alowins Creek, where there's the nuclear facility. That's right where that object is right now.
Uh-huh.
I got it. There's a faint one. I just want to keep my eyes on. It just started fading out. Just faded out. It just turned off. Just faded out. How? It's gone.
All right, now, oh, hey, Mike disappeared. I think he was abducted. Mike, were you abducted? Huh?
Sorry, I had to get the dog. He's driving me nuts. He does this every time I stream.
Click that map down there so I can show your audience this.
All right. Okay.
Okay, so see where it says Salem Nuclear Power Plant? That's exactly where Robert lives. That's exactly where this object was over.
That's what I was wondering, if it was because it was a regular camera, if it had a little bit of like tracer to it, on his. Because
The object looked the same on both, on mine as well. It
Yeah.
kind of like that bell shape to it. I mean, if even looking at it in the sky with your bare naked eyes, that
Yeah.
was the shape that it appeared to be. Now, I'm not saying could it have been a different shape? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The brightness of the light, I'm just going by what the object looked like to the
Are we-
naked eye,
I meant to send it to you. I have this like UFO guide or whatever of like different shapes and like I don't know who uses it or whatever, but they're like different, like a letter and a number, you know what I mean? Like A1, J2, whatever, like, and it's like I think like J2 and J6 are like the triangles, you know what I mean? Whatever. They took them. Yeah.
The bell-shaped UFO, it is a common shaped object. It's been around since World War II time. Kecksburg, I'll pull that up for you now. I'll show you this object. Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, is famous for a sighting that had an object that looked like a bell or an eggcorn, whatever you want to call it. So here's that image.
Okay. This is great. I don't know how to do this kind of shit.
So that's what came to mind. This shape.
Oh,
This
okay.
from Kecksburg, Pennsylvania. Also, there's another one I'm going to pull up from World War II. The Nazis had one in development called the Glock. UFO.
Oh, yeah. So
in World War II, the Nazis were big on, reverse engineering alien technology. It's said that they got their hands on an object and they were able to take alien technology along with the technology of the time and put into development this, which they called the Bell or the Glock. This object was two-framed that had another frame that spun on the inside of this frame, and the object above that round concrete structure, they would chain this object inside there, and let the bell fly because once they got it to levitate, they had no control. It just either went all the way up into the sky or all the way down. And yes,
Wow.
and die Glock means the bell in German. She's absolutely correct. It's actually Die Glock, Die Glock, not die Glock. But
That's cool.
that's an image of it right there, an actual illustration. So these things been around since the beginning of time.
Janelle, like you said, I'm seeing interviews saying a lot of these that we're seeing are ours. True, I have no idea. That's what Anthony says a lot of times too. Is like it could very well be a lot of our stuff that's just hidden from us. We just don't know, and that's why we're trying to collect this data. Yeah, I think that's the Nazi bell. Glock means bell. Anthony, Mike, I need to send you all a narrative of my first UFO ever. Please do. Yeah, please do, Blue Crossroads. I know you're very I saw you said earlier too about the tail light out. Ex-cop looking at the police taillights. This German bell was supposed to be a time travel machine. Chris Jarvis, good to see you, brother. As we have no proof. There goes Andy. Oh, wait. What happened? Did I mute him? Oh, I'm sorry, Ant. Ant can't unmute guests. They choose to unmute themselves. You can't unmute your guests because they choose to mute themselves. That's what it's telling me. No? Okay. All right, hang on. All right, I guess he's saying he's gonna come out and come back in. Sorry, guys, I'm not very technical, so. Corpus Christi. I love that place, by the way. I love South Texas. Just hope it fixed itself.
If you don't want me to talk, I'll leave.
Yeah, get the hell out of here.
Did you pull up the image that I had for you?
No, I did, and then it left when you left, so.
This fucking guy and his hand troubles.
Yeah. It's the Android, it's not me.
There it is.
All right, here we go. Boom shakalaka. Into the woods. What do we got here?
Okay, so this is a copy of a reverse engineered UFO from the 80s, like around Bob Lazar's time. The United States military had a project where they reverse engineered a craft like this. There was no windows on it. There was 3 seats on the very top of that object. It was made out of steel, and there was those bubble dome cameras all over this, so they could see. They also had a TV screen on the inside, so they can watch inside in the craft when they flew. But this was in the 80s. What's up, Dave? Spotted UFOs, ghosts, and cryptids. Good to see you, buddy.
Welcome
So
in.
this object was in the 1980s. We had technology like this. Moving forward,
I didn't know that. Like they had
yeah.
So that bell thing and you used to just hover there and
The bell, the Nazi one,
yeah.
that's pure speculation.
Okay.
It's been said that by many investigators that it was a real object. We never actually found the exact object, or if we did, they never showed it to us. But this object is from the American military. Northrop Grumman had like these shows where like they show it off to like select people. So people actually witnessed this object, and then blueprints came out. There's actual blueprints of this object also on the web that you could find. This was a real craft that
we had a lot of Northrop Grumman here on Long Island, and then my uncle actually owned a place called Nassau Tool, which made different parts for different crafts and stuff. But it was interesting when Northrop just started going. It started disappearing, and they just started, the factories just started closing down and stuff. And
well, oddly enough, Dr. Stephen Greer is always preaching that his uncle worked for Northrop Grumman, and his uncle was one of the engineers that put one of the Apollo mission craft into space. He worked on components for the
Yeah.
Apollo mission at Northrop. If there's any truth to that, I don't believe
But
him.
I had an uncle that worked for them, and they moved him all over the place. But I mean, he was just an employee, you know what I mean? But
And what's odd enough, all the shit that's been going on with all these whistleblowers the past couple weeks. I mean, we have whistleblowers from Dr. Greer, and we have whistleblowers that went before Congress and testified as well, right? So who do we believe? Do we believe Dr. Stephen Greer's whistleblowers, or do we believe um, the ones that testified before Congress? It's tough.
it is.
I like to know what you guys and girls in the chat
Well,
believe. Do you
yeah.
believe
All right, go ahead.
Do you believe Dr. Stephen Greer's whistleblowers that came forward? And those are the guys that were saying that there was a human trafficking operation and they were trafficking humans into a UFO. Andy and I did that story yesterday. Or do you believe, hey, Elena, or do you believe the actual fighter pilots that flew and witnessed this tic tac in motion? Commander Fravor, Commander Graves, and we also have Grush, who never physically witnessed anything, but military heads came to him that told
Who
this to him.
who's the guy that said that he was talking about how he was the guy who like went and would like check out these encounter stories or whatever and like go
Are
on
you
to
talking about Project Blue Book?
no, he was on the last. I think he was on the last
Oh,
thing,
Lou Elizondo, I think you're talking about.
maybe. But he was
That's,
saying to his wife and his kids, and he was being very vague. He's like, like I don't really want to say, I don't really want to say, but like it's a lot closer than people think, and it's a lot more like Oh, okay, you got one. Let's see.
yeah, so Grush said we have non-human bodies in the U.S. government. That's the guy that's testifying now. So David Grush has non-human bodies in the U.S. government's possession. So I put the Coneheads because if we have anybody, that's who we have. We have we have Beldar and his wife. I don't believe a word of that we have
Yeah.
alien bodies, with this guy's hand. But then when you look at the other side of the coin, then we're hanging out with these guys, and who's
Well,
all buddy chummy with Grush and Fravor. You got George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell. I mean, their stink is all over this shit. So I really don't know who to believe. I don't want to believe any side of these camps because neither side is credible in my eyes.
yeah, well, it's tough because it was interesting to see all the people that showed up to sit behind. You know what I mean? Oh,
Yeah,
and
Corbell and George Knapp sat behind.
they were like, I mean, they were on camera, but I mean, there was a lot of people in there. You know what I mean? Like the more I looked around, I was more or less surprised how some of these people even got in there. You know what I mean? Like,
Mike, great stories, no evidence. That
true that,
doesn't bother
true
you?
that.
All these whistleblowers that came forward, there's not one piece of tangible evidence of
I
data, not a video,
see.
not
Here's the thing:
not
if
a
you get me in
not
front
a
of Congress,
component, nothing.
if you get me in front of Congress, like I don't mind. Like I'm not a big guy about like showing evidence, and I don't give a shit anymore. You know what I mean? I don't like feel the need to like go over the top because I've done all that already. Like I've made my stance at this point. You know what I mean? So like, but if I was gonna go in front of Congress, I would have a stack at least of like photographs or something. You know what I mean? Something of like to be like, you know what I mean? Hold it up like Exhibit A, Exhibit B, whatever, something. You know what I mean? I was here, I was there.
Exactly.
You
Now,
know,
if I'm gonna believe anybody, the only person I'm gonna believe is Commander David Fravor, who went up against the Tic Tac over the ocean. That's the only guy I'm gonna believe. Why? Because he actually engaged with this thing. He actually witnessed it come from space down to the ocean level, then back up,
yeah.
then do all these weird maneuvers while they were chasing this thing. And he said it basically looked like a boiler over the ocean, just pinging all over the place. He said, naturally we don't have anything that could do that. Yes, Scotty, I believe the pilot too, David Fravor. He's probably the only witness that I think is credible out of everybody, because he's got nothing to gain and everything to lose. You're absolutely right, Andy.
Love Andy.
Incredible stories, why incredible evidence.
Andy never wavers.
And he's right. He's right because
I know.
without evidence, it's just a story, dude.
Well,
You know?
that's the thing. There's not even evidence that they're experienced. You know what I mean? That's where I like. The first thing I see is like when somebody runs their when somebody's running their
Flapping their gums. Hey,
I couldn't think of a
This-
good way to say it without.
yeah, this is Mike Herrera.
Yeah, right.
Check this out for a second. Andy and I made this.
Good.
Thank you all for being here. What I'm about to tell you hasn't been something that I've disclosed until recently in the help of Dr. Greer, among other people, so I appreciate your help with this. In 2009, my unit, which was most decorated infantry battalion in the entire Marine Corps, which was 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines, was called in to do humanitarian assistance operations out in the Philippines, which was Operation Quetzana, which we were attached to the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit, which conducts maritime operations all throughout Southeast Asia, in conjunction with the 7th Naval Fleet, which houses one landing helo deck, or LHD, among LPDs, which is what I was on, called a USS Denver. Ironically, that's where I'm from, so kind of felt like home. Now, during that operation in Quetzana in the Philippines, they had actually heard that a tsunami and earthquake hit the western part of Sumatra, which is western Indonesia, Padang City more specifically. Out of all the ships in the 7th Fleet, the ship I was on was the only one that was routed to that location, which was oddly strange, but then again, this is my first humanitarian operation, so I don't know the logistics of it, but the skipper of the ship would probably know that information. The transportation coming to basically drop off medical supplies, sheltering items, food, purified water, things like that. So they ended up selecting certain Marines to go ahead and do this. We were only in sticks of six Marines, so it had NCOs on top of other Marines to help with that. So we again boarded CH-53 Super Stallions, which are gigantic helicopters that are roughly 100 feet long. I love the design of them. It's my personal favorite. But we ended up boarding this on the ship, and we flew to the southwestern part of the city, which is Padang. And what we were instructed to do at that point through the briefing was to push to a high ground at least to get better observation. As a Marine, the tactical advantage that you get from having a observation from a top point is you see everything clearly. You could also coordinate from there. We trekked up about 300 meters. At this time, I have a Panasonic camera that has the ability to take photographs. It has a ability to take videos, obviously. When we got to this high point, I was taking video camera, and I had actually turned to the north, which just kind of slopes down. And right there was something that stuck out like a sore thumb, especially with jungle terrain, things like that. Vegetation, very green stuff, was something that stuck out so well. It's always going to be basically imprisoned in my mind for the rest of my life, and it has been for 14 years, was something that was rotating, and it was transitioning between colors like a light matte gray, as well as a dark matte black. So in between, that's what it kept, and it was very smooth. We had all looked at each other as we got online, and we decided to investigate. The further thing I want to say is that I actually took pictures and video of this before we actually trucked down. We had a dump pouch where we basically, if we expend ammunition, we want to retain our magazines, so we put those there. So I dropped my camera in there, and we decided to go down. We didn't have any communications, which was weird, and that was a very odd thing, and it's something that either could have been good that we didn't, or it could have been something that could have been very bad. And it just however you want to look at that. Once we got down this slope, we were approximately 150 meters away from this craft. When we all got to the point where we could see it, just like behind here, again, Mr. Schratt, phenomenal job. You can see that the craft here actually was roughly about 300 feet. And the reason why I know this is because you could fit 3 of the helicopters that we flew in on underneath this craft. It was rotating in a clockwise motion. The panels here that you see, the black ones, at least 3 of them, was like a Vanta black, very dark. I have no idea what that was. On the very top, there was like a pyramid structure that you could see the shadowing of it, which would elicit that was a pyramid structure. And it had an audible hum to it, kind of like a guitar amp if you were to unplug that, or like a transformer. It's very audible. If I was to hear that sound again, I could tell you, okay, it's probably this thing or something similar to that. It's very distinct. And the way that it was floating, which was about 10 or 15, 20 feet off the ground, it was kind of a
Mike,
very
whatever you're
eerie
doing, we
thing to
hear you.
see, because I've never seen anything like that in my life. When we got up to that point, we were then intercepted by a team of soldiers, or rogue military force, if you will. The most concerning thing about this is they all had American dialects. They had American gear. They had OTVs, black. They had black camouflage. They had very similar setups to what we have, but more high speed, something what you would see special operation groups these days have. They had no insignias on. They had no ranks. They had nothing that would signify who they were. They had black ball caps. They had M4A4s that were equipped with ACOGs, which was a step up from what we were currently issued, as well as PEC 16 IR illumination devices that you use for night vision and night patrols, things like that. So we were engaged. We had 8 of them put the drop on us. You could audibly hear them blow the safety selectors off. They basically started screaming at us, telling us what we were doing. We were not allowed to be there. Who were we with? What were we doing there? Threatened that they could kill us right then and there. We could get lost in the jungle. They could throw us out of a helicopter if they needed to. It was very nerve-wracking at that point, especially looking to my fellow Marines and seeing the reactions on their faces too. We were all freaking scared, to say none the less. So with that being said, each Marine was then patted down along with myself. We had our weapons taken from us. They were basically cleared in condition 4, which means they had no round chamber, no magazine in. They dumped our magazines out of our mag pouches as well onto the deck. And then again, because of Marine Corps order, how things are with that, we were told to keep our military ID in our left breast pocket. So they knew that. They asked for our military identification. We gave it to them, obviously, because they have guns in our face. So provided that to them. They had something that looked like modern day smartphones, but this is 2009, so it's not really as high tech compared to obviously today. So they took some pictures of our military ID, and then they had something that reminded me of a BAT system, which is a biometrics tracking system that we would use. This is for insurgents or anything like that. It would take fingerprints, it would take retina scans, it would take pictures of them and document them. So if there was other militaries that were coming to relieve our post, they would actually have this information too, to know who they are dealing with. That's what it reminded me of, and I had trouble scanning the IDs. As this is going on, we're going back between these guys as well as what's going on in the background. At that time, there was 4 of these trucks, which were F-350s. They were up armored. They were pretty beefy. They had weapon cases that I've seen before because of something that we've actually loaded weapons into. They had 2 of them that were in the back of each truck. They also had these containers that was illustrated right here, which come to find out through recent revelations from yesterday from somebody who came forward to Dr. Greer. I don't know who they are, but what they had told him and what he has told me is that this gentleman knows exactly what these were used for, because they had like a cylinder on the front, which is either for oxygen or what I hypothesized was for vacuum sealing, which lead me to suspect that they were smuggling narcotics or drugs. Come to find out, it's more disturbing than that. This gentleman has firsthand account with this and says that it was for people. It's very disheartening, especially because that part of the world have already gotten ravaged, and it's something that is very hard to see right now because of what I've witnessed, and it's very disheartening. And this is why I'm up here. So they loaded these onto this platform that you can see right there, and as I got up there, like I said, I was going back and forth. These guys are still searching our stuff. They're still, pointing their weapons at us. And after the last 2 trucks that I saw that actually got onto that platform unloaded, they had 4 guys in each truck that would unload everything. However they did it, I can't tell you because, again, I was focused on this as well. And these trucks drove off. As that happened, this platform actually rose up off the ground itself. The top part of the craft actually met it down in the middle like this, and it formed into one solid piece. It floated right above the tree line. As soon as it was able to break that tree line, it actually had on the corners of each of these, which was an octagonal shape craft, by the way, on each corner it emanated a light. It was either red, yellow, green, or blue. Only those 4 colors I can distinctly remember. It didn't make any additional high-pitched sounds when it rose up. Once it got past that tree line, it shot over to the left, basically where the ocean was, at so fast. I would estimate probably 3, 4, 5,000 miles an hour instantaneous like that. There was no rotor wash, no exhaust that would disturb the trees, vegetation. The coconuts that were on these trees were not even touched. It produced no sonic boom. This thing was so fast. So as that happened, they basically had told us to turn around. As we turned around, kind of a couple things that went through my head at that point was that we're done. They actually started loading our magazines into our back into our vest in a way that would be hard to get them to put them into a weapon and to actually, charge the weapon and actually put it around in a chamber. So they put those in. They actually slung our M16s on their back for us, but when they did it, the Marine Corps not really issued the best gear, especially at that time. So the slings back then were, I would say, subpar quality, cut my neck pretty good, and they kind of went in that motion and made sure they were secured so we couldn't really get them as easy. And they escorted us back up this slope. And they told us we were not allowed to look back. 2, that we were not able to talk about this. They were actually, 2 of the guys were actually talking about either, hey, should we smoke these guys right now? That's what they kept saying. It was kind of feeding more into the fear at that point because, again, I don't know who these guys are. I know they had American gear, they had American sidearms as well. If these guys have actually taken an oath like we have, and then why they're going against people like us and even willing to kill servicemen who just even stumbled onto this, it just blows my mind, and it's very sick. So as we broke atop this hill, we decided to book it. And we ran back to the LZ. There was a gunnery sergeant that was attached to the ship. I don't know this gentleman personally, but I know he's very unhappy with seeing us because we had actually had our weapons slung. We were not combat effective at that point if we needed to be. He asked specifically why we were. We didn't tell him exactly why. We just came up with an excuse. And then we waited for the next CH-53 to approach, and we got on board, flew back to the ship. We turned our weapons in back to the armory. We took our gear off back in our berthing, and we went upstairs to be debriefed by an admiral that I've never seen before, and it was kind of somebody who was out of place. I don't know if he has any kind of relevance to this at all, but if that's the case, if he does, I hope he comes forward with that information. It would be very helpful. So as we're going to go ahead and fast track to a couple days later, which we end up in Subic Bay, which is like the party town in the Philippines. So we had 3 days there of liberty. The first night I come back, because we had to report back to the ship each night, we were not allowed to stay out in town. My rack was on my camera was on my rack, and the memory card that was in it was out, and my battery was out of the camera, missing as well. So all of that was missing. The only thing that was there was the camera. Mind you, I had my locker secured. I had other stuff that was basically piled on top of that camera. So whoever did it knew what the hell happened. So after that, the other thing that was also notable with that was each of the Marines that were with me also had their cell phones taken that they brought. Even though they didn't bring them on the mission, all their stuff was missing. The other stuff, the other people in the actual platoon never had their stuff touched. It was only us 6 that were affected. So fast tracking back when we returned back to Okinawa, one day I had got a call from the duty that was in the barracks. Each barracks has like a duty of Marines that are making sure there's still order, things like that. He had been told that I needed to go up to the CP, so he informed me, so I had hightailed it up there. And oddly enough, there was nobody in the building, except for one gentleman who was wearing Air Force dress blues that was missing a name tag, which I understand in Air Force policy or regulations that they were supposed to wear a name tag, and he did not have that. I gave him the proper greeting of the day, gave him the salute. He had pulled me into an office, and he had said, "You are not allowed to tell anybody in your chain of command. I don't care if it's a general. I don't care if it's anybody. You are not allowed to talk about what happened. You can go to prison for this, or you could be killed." So he slid over a non-disclosure agreement, and it had 2 things that I can recall to this day as I quickly skimmed through it, because, again, I had thought we were going to forget about this whole mess. And one was said TSSCI, and the other said Indonesia. There's only 2 things I can recall out of that. So I was forced to sign that. I signed it, and I had got the hell out of there as quick as I could. Before I did that, I tried to ask him who he was, and he would not tell me who he was. So I hightailed it back, And I have not spoken about it ever since I was able to recently because what the law passed. But that is my account for you guys. This is also an urging for anybody in Washington, D.C. who's a political figure. Please get this under control because there are people who are either being hurt or killed by this, and it's something that needs to be addressed.
Okay, so there are a lot of inconsistencies with this guy's story. Number one, he sat on this. First of all, what he's saying is that they were trafficking humans. Okay, they were doing a human trafficking operation into UFOs. So they were smuggling people into UFOs and taking them away. Okay. Number two, we had somebody on the ground there at this event, watching the whole thing, interacting with the Dr. Greer and everybody. And it wasn't until the day that they had this event that miraculously some strange so and so came up to Dr. Greer and said, I know all about this mission. It wasn't drugs they were smuggling, it was people. So I know some guy just happened to come out of the blue the day of the disclosure event to tell Dr. Greer it wasn't drugs, they were smuggling people. I do believe because a tsunami did happen, people were displaced. That would be the perfect time if you were going to do a human trafficking operation, or like some mercenaries or black ops guys, private mercenary guys, or whatever. Be a perfect time because everybody's all over the place. People are confused. Houses just got wrecked. People displaced. They don't know where to go. Be a perfect time to pull a stunt like that, right?
Sure.
But UFOs, I mean, come on. And not only that, Dr. Greer has been busted time and time again, hiring his friend who's a pilot to fly over the island and drop flares. Then he tells everybody, shut your cameras off. My team will film and they'll give you the footage. We uncovered evidence of the same time these UFOs appeared. We found a small Cessna that was in the same area that on his chart that he was dropping flares over the ocean. So we've proven a lot of this shit over the past couple of years already about Greer lying. It's been proven time and time again.
All right. Well,
Dr. Greer, when he first got started, had good intentions back in 2000. But then
yeah.
he started making too much money, and the stories got more and more and more grandiose. So it's a lot of bullshit with this guy.
Well, Stingray's making a good point here. So, like, but all right. So you never started stuff on your. You wouldn't tie the stuff on your rack. I mean, why would you leave it on top of your rack for anybody to steal? It's like it's just anyway. Even if you were just in a small area with guys that you knew. So I wanted to touch on that. So in the original, he's talking about going down. I snapped pictures. Then we lost communications and blah blah blah. They went through all this shit, and then they come up and they meet these people, and they don't know who they are, right? But they look American, and so he goes on to say that they go through all his shit, take out all his magazines, and he put the camera in where he would have his spare
dumb
deal.
stuff. Yeah.
Right. So you're telling me they went through all your gear and everything, but they didn't find the camera.
Footage.
And then, right, they didn't find the camera, right? And then they went and followed him all the way to Subic Bay and waited till he was at a party to go sneak on the freaking ship to steal his camera. And that part is so.
No, they weren't on a ship. They were in a hotel. They were in a resort.
Oh, well,
right?
Okay.
And he screwed up a couple times, right? On top of that, what would you hold on to a human? You filmed the whole human trafficking operation.
Here's the thing.
You sat on that for a couple of days.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, so when I was leaving Afghanistan, we had our unit didn't tell us shit, and I don't even know if they knew shit, but they were saying that we were doing inventory right before we were leaving country, and it was like 2 months ahead of time. And I was like, why are we doing this now? Like, we're just gonna have to do it again. And I don't know what they were looking for, but I think they're called CID, like investigation department or whatever for the military. And they were there, and it sounds like the way this guy is describing, and this is back in 2010, 2011.
2009.
And they rifled through our shit. I mean, we're thinking we're bringing everything we own out for our unit to inventory, and they're rifling through our shit. First thing they did was grab my camera. They took that thing apart, man. Took the lens off, took the freaking battery out, took the SD card, all that shit. Bing, 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 piece of it, but they gave me back a shell. It was worthless. Thing was worthless. and I didn't think nothing of it. You know what I mean? Like I didn't think nothing of it. You know, but then looking back, I'm like, why? Why did they take everyone's shit? And like they were going through people's computers and all that shit, and like opening them up and like looking, you know, like, and they weren't just like looking through them; they were plugging stuff into them, and it was almost like they could see, you know, like they could
People was
almost like,
loaded into it.
yeah, like they could check very quickly if there was something that they didn't want on there. And it just a lot of it sounded interesting the way he was describing it.
You don't get me wrong. I think they definitely encountered something.
Man, I could tell that story right there and be like, and then just add a UFO. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so, like, I could literally just be like, it's because I filmed the UFO.
And he's not the only guy, Mike. There was a couple whistleblowers that were accurate. Another guy seen this triangular UFO like 8 times, 8 different occasions, and didn't get
Yes.
one photo, one piece of video, nothing.
Blue Crossroads said back then they had shitty gear and crappy.
Yeah.
So if you're in this elite unit, you don't have crappy gear. Yes, the
Right.
regular ass Marines have crappy gear, but I was with recon Marines in Afghanistan and they had the best shit. I had to train for a whole week to learn their stuff because I had never seen it before. The Crow system, I was just a week before that out in a gunner, out with my unit in a gunner seat. As soon as I got with these recon guys, I had to learn the Crow system. And I now I'm looking at a screen safely inside the back of this truck because I'm with high value personnel now, and they don't risk those lives like they risk ours. You know what I'm saying?
And don't get me wrong, I want to believe this guy more than anything. These
Dude,
stories are phenomenal.
I hate to shit on a military guy. I hate to because he's really a
I
Marine.
love our military, man. They're fucking awesome, man. God bless them, right? But don't give us grandiose stories with no evidence. There was like 7 different people told these grandiose stories, and not one person had a document, a photo, a 10-second video clip. I mean, nothing. Nothing. Like I said, one guy witnessed these triangular UFOs 8 separate times. One time was on his personal time with his girlfriend. And neither one of you or your girl, took out a cell phone, snapped a picture. Fucking UFO was parked on the road in front of your car. You didn't take a picture?
Right.
Come on, I can't buy that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Everybody in, you know, like you could ask the guys I served with, like we weren't G.I. Joe, you know what I mean? Like we were just regular ass mechanics who we got to Afghanistan. There was nothing going on there. They dragged us all over the place, split us up, and just used us for whatever the hell they wanted. Needs of the army, we were a number. Nothing fancy. Like everybody's special forces and did this amazing shit and fucking, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying those. I've seen those guys, but they're
few and far between.
And they shut the hell up. All of them. I never heard one of them's voice. Never one. I never heard their voice.
He had a 7-man team with him, and not one of his fellow brother Marines that he served with came to back up his claims. Not one.
Well, yeah, that's a red flag. I mean, I know I could tell you right now, I could put 100 guys up here that I serve with, and they'll fucking vouch for me. You know what I mean?
It don't work like that, Mike. You know how it works. You know, right? They'll come vouch for you right away.
Right away. So I don't understand that part. I don't.
I think Dr. Greer made this. Click that down there. This is an alleged witness statement from one of the Marines.
This is a statement from one of Michael Herrera's Marines that also witnessed this event. Hey man, this is asking too much of me, and it's not worth the risk. My family and military career far exceed anything you are asking of me. It's not worth my life, or jeopardizing my family. I know we go way back, but this is asking too much. You need to get out of whatever you are in, and don't get me involved with this mess. My career isn't worth helping you. Don't ever ask me to do this shit ever again. Marine platoon member of Michael Herrera.
So, I mean, I don't know any other Marines that wouldn't back up a Marine with a story like this, with a situation like this. You don't come back your boy up.
I don't know.
And don't get me wrong, people. Yep, I saw a UFO in midday 2019. Had my smartphone in my hand, out on a run. Didn't even think to try to get a pic. My mind just tried to think what else. That happens. But the guy I'm talking about,
is
8 different times. 8 different times. You would think after the first 3 or 4, you would say to yourself, I'm ready in case something appears again. I got my phone. I'm ready to go.
But that's
8
why, like,
times you never
yeah,
got nothing? Come on, that's
bro, I
bullshit.
always said,
Sorry.
bro, like, how do you get so much good shit? I always have my camera up already. I don't have to. It's
I
muscle.
always have a camera with me.
Yeah,
Always.
it's muscle memory. Like I've learned to like just do
That's it.
to go through the motions. I filmed thousands of hours of footage to get 1 minute of quality, high quality shit. You know what I mean?
And
People
we're
go,
not
oh,
talking about, your standard regular civilian. We're talking about highly trained military people.
right,
These witnesses are.
yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
Some
I
things
don't
are
know.
like when you
I
get the
want to believe this
footage,
guy.
I wanna believe them all, but something don't smell right.
Yeah,
Why didn't they go testify before Congress?
you never know though. Like I get
Dude,
nervous. I get nervous when I do a live stream here with people I know. So you never know too. Like that could come into play. Like it's hard to say, you know, it really is. Like you'll have people who read body language and be like, oh, look at so and so, watch this, and I'm like, yep. I'm like, where is that person? I'm like, do you know them? Have you spoke to them? Like, how do you know? Like, oh, they looked left a bunch, they're lying. How do you know that they're sitting in their couch? How do you know they don't have a baby
listen,
in the crib
all I'm
2 feet away?
saying is
You know?
in early 2000, Dr. Greer was a very credible person. Moving on later in life, he became very discreditable.
No,
He's
no, I
done a
know.
lot of fucking things that are shady.
Well,
Okay,
when
and
your track
granted,
record goes to shit,
nobody's perfect,
yeah,
but I mean,
yeah. When it goes to shit, like in a hell in a handbasket, like then
you
it's
don't charge people $5,000 to go sit on the beach and film the sky. That's what Dr. Greer does.
And
Okay,
I do think C5 works. I really do because I know
it's
guys who use.
meditation. That's
Yeah,
another
right,
thing.
right,
He
right.
didn't
I,
invent CE5.
listen, I
People
get it,
like
but
to
yeah,
praise, but meditation's been around since fucking
I
beginning of
know,
time.
and that's what I do. I do a walking. Like I've done. I learned to like take different things and put them into play, like a walking Reiki meditation type
Yeah,
thing,
right.
and it works for me. Like it's what I do, but I'm not gonna sell it to people.
But
Like I,
right, but he needed to find a way to grift off of it,
yeah,
and
anytime, Blue
that's what
Crossroads,
he did.
anytime, just shout.
And don't get me wrong, there's credible people out there that witnessed amazing things and they have evidence to back up the claims. I just don't understand. You're trying to prove to the world and to the government that UFOs are real, aliens are real, they're coming to visit Earth, and all you have is stories. You would think that if you're going to go testify, you would have footage and data and evidence. I'm a civilian. A UFO flew over my house the other night. I had more data and footage than the whistleblowers that are testifying before Congress. They
I
go
have
on.
more than them, and I'm not even a UFO guy. You
You
know
know
what I
what I'm
mean?
saying?
Like I got more than
How is
the first time we met up. You know what I mean?
how is that possible?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. It's not. I mean,
something don't smell right.
I agree. I agree. And again, I'm not shitting on them direct. Like I don't know enough. You know what I mean?
Me neither.
I don't know enough. But that's
Nobody read me into these stories. For all I know, there may be a slew of evidence that they may be sitting on that they just can't tell the public.
yeah.
It
Maybe
may
they
be
don't.
too mind-boggling. What the fuck do I know? But from
But
the
it's
way it
like
looks right here, it don't look right.
yeah. There's more truth in WWE. Yeah. So like for instance, if I had evidence and then like I went in Congress and they were like, you're not allowed to present anything, just verbal. You know, that's how I would open up my statement. I have stuff to show you, but they won't let me. I'm gonna point
Right.
that fucking finger at who, you know what I mean, and then say like they won't let me or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
And
but
that's why they keep saying we got to go in a SWIC. We got to go in like a private box to even tell you certain classified information.
yeah,
You're there before Congress for open hearings to tell them what they want to hear.
yeah,
And every like big thing that they need to, oh no, I got to tell you in a SWIC. I got to tell you in a private setting. I got to tell you
yeah,
in close quarters. Can't
yeah,
tell you in front of the general public. Then what's the sense of an open fucking hearing? Have a private closed door hearing then, and get the get the information that you need.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. Well, this has been great, bro. I appreciate you, man.
Pleasure.
Yeah. I don't.
And I believe in aliens 100%. I had an encounter in 93, changed my life. So nobody believes and wants this shit to be proven more than me. But you can't take every story at face value. You
Yeah.
just can't. You
Yeah.
can't.
That's a fact. I mean, that's a fact. And I
And the
really
more
appreciate.
grandiose the story, like Andy said before, the more grandiose the story, the more evidence you need to back it up.
Sure. Stingray, good to see you, Yorker baby. Good to see you.
Thanks,
Thanks
brother.
for coming by. Cashew, thank you for being here. Mods, thank you guys who donated. Ghost Dragons, Guardian, thank you guys.
Thanks, Jim.
And I wanna thank Andy too. You guys kill it, man. Like, if you guys are not subscribed on Unidentified as Sport and you liked what you saw today, this is what they do all the time. These guys work their ass off behind the scenes. So that guy was boring to me. But when they went through a lot of work to make that whatever 6-7 minute video. It's a lot of
Days of
time
work.
put in there, and you guys kill it, man. And I see you, and you guys are doing great things. And
Thanks. And believe me, the minute we can prove any one of these stories are real, we're going to be the first ones to say, out of all these stories, this is who the real people are that you should be following. Tomorrow, we're going to cover David Grush. We're going to get into him too. And if he's credible, he's credible, but we're going to find out. We've been digging for a couple of weeks now. We're going to find out.
totally, cheers, and yes, thank you, Kesha. There it is. Thank you, guys.
We're on tomorrow afternoon at noon. So we're going to be doing, like I said, David Grush.
Okay, cool.
Come hang out. Check out the show.
Yeah, I'll be there. All right, brother. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you guys all for being here.
Pleasure.
I know it's the middle of the day. A lot of you came and went, and thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here on short notice. I really just wanted to get him back in here and, just him and, not on like a subscriber Sunday slot where like we're doing a lot of different things.
Around.
Short notice, bro. I don't even know how you just pulled this up, but thank you so much, bro.
No problem.
Thank you, bro. Thank
Pleasure.
you. Yeah. All right,
Very
brother.
much.
I'll talk. Actually, I'm just gonna bow out with him.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for being here, and I'll see you next time. Thank you
Blue
all.
Crossroads, you're a fellow cop, brother. Come hang out, man. We would love to have you come hang out anytime, man. You're
Yeah,
always
we'll
welcome.
talk. Blue Cross. We'll talk soon. All right, guys. Thank
All
you
right,
all.
later.